I was at Kroger this week, and I saw something that I haven't seen for a long time, and I don't know if you guys have ever been like aware of a phenomenon that occurs in life that at some point you're going to see for your last time. So, for example, somebody that's using a payphone. At some point, we either already have or very quickly we are going to see a person put a quarter in a payphone and make a phone call for the last time. And it will be very unceremonious when that occurs.
Yep.
It just sort of fades. And I don't know if this was the last time I'll see this, but I hope so. I was at Meijer. I was checking out, and I went to one of the non-self checkout lines because there was only one person in line ahead, and the self checkout had a queue several people deep, and I thought I'd save myself some time. And of course, my optimism got punished because the lady decides to pull out a checkbook.
Yep, I knew you were going to say that.
What is today's date? How much?
Who do I make this payable to?
Yeah, who's it payable to? Can I get cash back? And I tell you what, I felt like I time traveled in the DeLorean all the way back.
Well, seeing the cashier and me, because I used to work at Walmart, you can fill that check out automatically. So I bet they don't even have the machine that does that anymore. You can like sign the check and you tell the cashier everything that you want on that check, and then they don't have to write anything because I know you were probably counting the seconds that it was taking for her to write every single letter.
I could feel each palpitation of my heartbeat as my blood pressure rose. And I just thought to myself, you know, why stop there? Why don't you barter some buffalo skins?
I thought you were going to have someone with a little purse and a penny coming out with pennies and exact change and set it on there. No,
that would have been a step forward in my world. Yeah, the writing of the check, I died inside.
It's a good story because it caught me off guard. I thought you were going to talk about having assistance and not doing a self-checkout was the last time.
Nope. I still like to go through the grocery line, speak to the person. Mm-hmm. I am an old man in that regard, but nope, the check thing just killed my soul.
If we have a full cart, you know, like the shopping for the week, I definitely want to go through the line with the person. But that's getting even easier now with the self checkout too. Mm-hmm. I guess the other thing you can do is scan your groceries as you go, right?
Yeah.
That's a Kroger thing? Or is it
I don't know if it's
thing?
Kroger. I think Meijer and Sam's.
Okay.
Sam's has that technology in their cart.
I haven't tried
really
that
cool.
yet. But
yeah.
If you try that at Kroger and you can walk fast enough, all your groceries are free.
Is that right? Yeah. All you have to do is make it through those.
Don't get arrested.
You are listening to The Soapbox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears. And I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel man the opposite position because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey.
We're back with one of our favorite guests, and this guest brought a guest.
So it's guestception.
Guestception, the guest.
Or Pimp My Ride, guest edition. You like guests? Well, our guest brought a guest.
And we've never done 4 in the room, so, I guess we've done the Super Bowl was 4, wasn't it?
That was just, we're not even going to count that one.
Okay. But Kevin Schedinger, you're back. I don't know why. But last time we talked about the Hill and all the tech schools and things.
This would have been March, right?
That's right. It sounds about right.
Yeah. So last time I saw you, I was about 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I had a difficult few months here of not enjoying calories.
We're gonna have to do a chronology of all of the weight loss intros that you've done over the last 6 months.
It's been absurd, but what's funny is we just published an episode 41.
Yeah.
So this will be episode 42, but episode 41 we actually had recorded several months ago.
Oh yeah.
And so I bring this up intentionally because I was editing today, and I noticed, wow. If you watch episode 40 and then episode 41, I got fat again real quick.
You relapsed.
I relapsed, but I'm doing well now.
Good. Glad to hear.
So letting people know you weren't
stung by a bee, having some sort of allergic reaction. No, none of that.
Paul doesn't realize no one watches the video. Just to say.
So,
but Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you.
And you brought a friend with you that I'd love for you to tell us about.
Sure. So thanks for having me back. So I wanted to bring the K North story and some of the great things that's happening there. And I want to introduce Laterica Young. A lot of people in town know her as Terry Young, but she's the founder. She's the CEO of this company. And Terry and I go way back. I'll have her talk about that a little bit if she wants to. But she might be one of the most connected people I've ever met. And all the leadership and influence she has in the community is unbelievable. So hopefully y'all will hear a lot of that today. So I'd like to turn over to Terry.
Welcome,
Thank
Terry.
you, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate being here. So K North, first I'll start with my relationship with Kevin. So me and Kevin, we work at Lexmark together for years. And Kevin was the technical czar, is what I like to call him. He was a laureate.
You get the title czar.
Yeah, he was a laureate, which is basically like the highest you can go as a technical leader. He was a mentor. I always heard about Kevin, but we really didn't get a chance to work together until we started to explore some innovative projects. And that's sort of where we kind of connected and gained some synergies. And so we kept the connection even after he retired. And then probably around 2020, I started this business called K North, and it came from me being a caretaker 3 years prior. So my grandmother, she was a serial entrepreneur. I mean, she started in the medical field for over 20 years. When she decided to retire from that, she opened a daycare, did that for 20 years, and in parallel, she baked pies and cakes out of her home. So all the things, very much a phenomenal woman, but she was also caring for a lot of loved ones throughout that time. And when my grandfather fell ill, went to the nursing home, she kind of ran herself down. When he passed away, of course, you know what they say about couples, like then her health started to fail. So now all of a sudden you have this very independent woman who is a serial entrepreneur who is now stuck in the house and has to have permission to go and do everything because she doesn't drive, all of these types of things. And so naturally, you know, morale took a toll. And as her granddaughter, I mean, I was there, you know, just to kind of be there to keep her company, but it just kind of felt weird. She wasn't my grandmother. You know, she was different. And so what I decided to do was I said, we got to figure out a way to give her some of her independence back. So I started to say, hey, you want to look at my phone? You want to like play with my iPad? And of course, she was resistant. No, I don't need that. I'm too old to learn that, you know, that type of thing. But what I learned was that resistance, you just had to find the right approach to help her understand the benefit. What was I trying to give her in that technology? It wasn't just, I wanted you to play a video game with me, right? I want you to be able to do some things without having to ask me to go and do it. And one thing she loved to do was go to every single grocery store in the city of Lexington. Every coupon or anything like that, or her pie ingredients, that's what she wanted to do. So I said, okay, well, let's start with ordering groceries.
Oh, and actually, let's take a shot. You may not be familiar with the tradition on the podcast because of our urban location and inability to isolate the sound in the room. Every time we hear a siren, we just say take a shot and make it a drinking game for the podcast listeners.
Okay,
So.
well, can I take a drink of water?
That doesn't hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that what you're doing there is finding the value statement, because I've had two experiences that are notable to me in that same domain.
Yeah.
The first was kind of folly, and the second was success. The folly came with my grandmother. My grandmother and my grandfather. I brought them a computer to Providence, Kentucky. So Western Kentucky. They were in their late 70s, early 80s. This would have been probably 20 years ago, so the technology wasn't fantastic. But I wanted to connect with them, and I wanted them to have the option to connect with me. And so I set it up, and I showed them, here's how you turn it on, here's what you do. And then it sat there and it collected dust, and it never got turned on because they didn't know, didn't care, didn't engage with it. And I wasn't close enough that they had anybody they could rely upon to help them get connected.
Yeah. Yep. And understanding why it's needed
Yes.
in their day-to-day is what's really important, making that connection. And that's what we had to work on. And so what it turned into was, okay, make a list of what you would normally get at the grocery store, the list that you would give to me to go and search all of these different grocery stores around town to go and get your ingredients. But then as I started to integrate the iPad and let her see, she could physically see the Karo syrup, the flour, the eggs. And now all of a sudden she's learning how to scroll or swipe when she was like, punching it up, like being really violent. But then it became a connection for us too. So now she's looking forward for me coming over because I've introduced this new hobby.
Yeah.
And we started to write instructions, and I had to write those instructions over and over again because my assumption, being a digital native, of where she was starting was not the right starting place. It had to be very basic and broken down.
Yeah.
So we did that for about a month and a half. She was grumpy, but then the grumpiness turned into, okay, I'm ready to do this. And so we did it for a month and a half. And one day, I'll never forget it, I was really tired from work. And it was a Tuesday. I go over there on Tuesdays. And I said, I got to get in the mental model. We got to order these groceries. But I'm tired. Like, I have an attitude problem. I need to get adjusted. So I walk in, and I'm like, hey, grandmama, I'm going to go put my stuff down. We're going to go order these groceries. And she was like, I don't need you today.
Ooh.
And so I have an attitude too, so I'm like trying not to match her energy because in my head I'm like, well, I didn't want to anyway.
There it is.
Okay, so like for real, we can do this.
Transaction complete.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go ahead and leave now.
But that was in my head. I didn't say it outwardly, and I said, okay, that's fine. I said I'm gonna go set my stuff down and I'll come back. And so I go back into the room, and she's sitting in there watching TV, and I'm like, okay, like we really got to get these groceries orders because you need this stuff. And she was like, I said I didn't need you. And so there's this awkward pause, and I'm looking, and she's like, they're already ordered.
She already did.
Oh, she was setting you up.
Yes,
yeah.
she was setting it up. And so, like, she was
Nice.
so excited. And from that moment on, like, I mean, every now and then she would have me spot check if she had, an issue, but
Yeah.
she learned it, and she started to do that, and then she graduated to QVC. That's touch and go.
Lord help her.
Yes. But it
For
really
only 3
was
easy payments.
Yes,
she can get
exactly.
that Christmas tree in July.
Exactly. But she really just gravitated toward Kroger to the point where when they would deliver the groceries, she would bake them pies
Oh, of course.
This is
and
great.
give the pie to the person that was delivering the
This
groceries.
is now
which
the most adorable and wholesome.
Isn't it adorable? Isn't it adorable? So anyway, that whole experience really motivated me to start K North because what I said to myself was, there's not everyone has a Terry that can come over every Tuesday and take hours to go and teach you how to
Yeah.
order your groceries.
So the second experience that I alluded to there, my grandma, not the digital native, didn't acclimate to the technology, but I worked for Apple. And one of the jobs that I had at Apple was one-on-one, or what they call one-to-one training.
Yes.
And so I was called a creative because they didn't have normal job titles at Apple. They wanted everybody to feel special.
Love that.
But my creative title was to sit down with folks and teach them like how to use an iPad, how to use your phone, how to do a personal setup. If you're interested in editing video, that was my specialty track. But usually it was just somebody's grandma, and they'd come in and they would learn how to use their device. But those types of services are not as available as they used to be
They're
even
not.
a decade ago.
They're
Retailers have lowered the priority of teaching and increased the priority of get them in, get them out, and get them on their way.
Well, and it takes a special type of skill set to have a question that you have to be really willing to answer 10 times.
Hey,
Yeah.
to be honest, just teaching them the one time at a storefront, that's not enough. It needs to be the Tuesday Terry to really make it work.
Yes.
Tuesday Terry.
Is that what we
I
call
like
it?
You
that.
like that? Tuesday
Yes.
Terry. I like that.
We should point out the tagline: K North, keeping seniors connected with technology. I love that.
Yes.
That
Yes.
to me, that reminds me of. I think I sent both of you guys the photo of us in the airport, and when the couple was next to us, this airport restaurant, you weren't allowed to order vocally, right? You had to do it through the app.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an elderly couple that it turned out they were fine. They were fumbling around with it. They didn't want to. It's like, can we have some paper menus? And so Viv was over there watching them, and I was like, hey, Viv, do your little K North magic on them. And
Nice.
she walked over and just asked if they wanted any help.
Oh, I
and
love that.
and obviously,
So
they
nice,
didn't
because
need
I'd
it.
have been like, I'm off the clock, Dad. Forget that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And so it was very gradual because again, I wasn't doing it from a place of like wanting to profit or make money. I really had my grandmother in mind. She passed away, and I wanted to make sure that I was creating that space for someone else's loved one, be it a grandmother or otherwise. And so I started talking to Kevin about it, and Kevin was like, oh, that's interesting. I think I want in on this. Do you mind? And I'm like, absolutely. And Kevin has the personality that it's like the yin to yang, right? He always is pushing the edge a little bit. He did that at Lexmark, but that's the reason we were able to innovate as much as we did. And so I wanted to bring him in to always push me, stretch me, help me think beyond just what that value prop that I started with really is.
Yeah. So Kevin, let me ask your perspective here now, because as the innovative type of personality that I've learned that you are the last time we had our conversation, what was the value proposition for you? What was the thing that attracted you to this?
That might be one of the easiest questions I've ever had, because we all can see it every day how the older community is struggling. The technology is moving so fast. We're going to eventually get into talking about scams, right? And I just it just talked to me. That's what I'd like to do is help her make a big impact as much as we can on the older population. And the other aspect was I was working with a lot of students, while we were having these discussions. And Terry's a big fan of this as well, is what better way to help the older community but to get the younger community connected with them.
Yeah.
And we'll eventually get into our K-North story, especially at Kroger's and using our digital dashers. But that just spoke directly to me, right? And so it was an easy sell. And of course, I love working with Terry. She didn't mention this, but when we were at Lexmark, we were eventually both kind of troublemakers, but we had so much fun with what we did.
We did.
A lot of management, some of them had to turn the other way, and they just let us do our thing, and it was so much fun. But it was an easy sell because I wanted to keep working with her.
That's awesome.
And that intergenerational piece is really key, because one of the things that I decided to do when I started K-North and kind of started to learn about what this value properly was is I went back to school for a graduate certification in innovations in aging. I didn't read the fine print. It was way more intense than I thought, but it was well worth it, because what I wanted to do was, I'm a techie. I like to help people, but I didn't really have a good foundational knowledge on what it really means to age. What does cognitive decline really mean? What is pathological aging? What is cell senescence? All of those types of things that are going on in your body, but how that projects itself outwardly when people are interacting with technology, crossing the street, things like that. And so I went back to school just to get that foundational knowledge. And what I quickly learned was it was going to take the younger generation to sustain a business like K-North. They are the ones that are going to be constantly learning the technology, onboarding. So that's what was really key for me, is that connection. And by Kevin being involved with Fayette County Public Schools, it was the perfect match.
Yeah, my understanding of innovation is it's novel associations between things that you've already got experience with.
That's right.
This seems like a really intelligent partnership based on a very defined need and access.
Yeah,
exactly. It's natural. I mean, there's so many examples to where it's been a great partnership to where she takes care of a lot of the business side. She's got connections every day. I kind of work on sometimes the recruiting of establishing relationships, and on the reporting side, because I love putting presentations together, and it just works great.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned some earlier that I feel like the transportation safety guy in me wanted to kind of double click on. That's the new.
Was this the crossing the street thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
I can talk about that one.
Because I admitted earlier I jaywalked. Sorry, guys.
I wouldn't put that one on the. But you mentioned the fact that your grandmother wasn't driving.
Yes.
How hard of a decision was it for her or for someone to tell her?
Yeah. She made it easy on us. My grandmother was very organized in her death, if that makes sense. With each transition that she made of decline, she was always in control. So she was the one that handed us the key. So we were blessed in that.
Yeah,
but we knew how hard that was for her because of how busy of a woman we knew she was accustomed to being.
Yeah.
So, and when I say she was in control of everything. I walked in the house one day, and this was way before she passed. She had written her whole program for her funeral. She picked the picture out. She picked out her outfit, and she said, here's what you need when the time is ready. And then she told us what we needed to do when she passed, which was let her go, fly some yellow balloons, and then don't think about her again, because she's not coming back to see us in our dreams. Right? So she was that type of woman. Very sweet, very nurturing, but those types of decisions that she knew were going to be hard for us, she made it easy.
That's fantastic. That's such a loving thing for somebody to do, because so many people, I think, are in denial of what is going to come for us all.
Yeah.
And then they just don't take steps towards it. Like, that's going to prevent it.
Yeah,
All it does is just make your kids more stressed out.
Yep.
I wanted to add just real quick was we've been very fortunate early on with maybe we can get into this later, but with the YMCA, with Kroger's and some other places, every time Terry tells her story to kick it off, everybody's all in because they see her passion and what inspired her, and it just blends beautifully, and it makes it easy.
And we all touch on this too. I've been at Kroger multiple times watching the poor person try to operate a U-Scan where they may be responsible for 4 to 6 lanes themselves already, and now they're helping somebody download the digital coupon, download the app, forgot the password. Why on earth should they be the one troubleshooting a lost password for a customer?
Absolutely. It's a lot, and we don't think about the small things because, again, we all come from places where we've been accustomed to using our phones. When you're not coming from that background, all of that is foreign to the point of touching your phone, right? They touch it differently if you're not, not engaging.
So at the Apple store, I think I've told this story on the podcast once before, maybe not, but we were doing a training for this guy who'd survived 70 plus years, 80 plus years, never touched a computer, managed to navigate his entire life without touching a computer, but decided he wanted to. And so he came in for a training class, and I wasn't the one teaching it. I just overheard the story and got to see him in action, and he was a sweet old guy. But they said, okay, use the mouse and click here. He picked the mouse up off the table, and he started touching the screen with it. He thought that was the interaction. So not only had he dodged using it, but apparently he'd dodged seeing it on television. And how you're supposed to interact with that for 40 years.
Wow. Yeah. That reminds me, there's an audio clip. I assume it was real because this was before people were deep faking everything. But it was an old audio clip of a guy calling text service. And he's like, I've moved my mouse all the way to the end of the mouse pad, but the cursor isn't all the way right yet. I need to go farther right. But I'm at the end of the mouse pad. I don't know what to do.
You got to get a bigger mouse pad. We will sell that to you. No problem.
Amazon, 2-hour delivery.
Yeah. But those types of encounters and stories, you have to be careful too. And that's another reason why I think this certification program keeps me mindful is it's not a one size fits all. Mm-hmm. So if I tried to help my mother right now, my mother will look at me and say, I birthed you. I am an engineer. I know some of these things. Do not treat me like I'm old, right?
Yes.
And so you have to be mindful of that when you do engage, that you understand where they are in their technology journey before you make the assumption that they need you need them to do everything, right?
Agreed.
And so just staying mindful of that, because the reality is when we're all 80, we're not going to look like the 80-year-olds of 2025. We're going to have a much different experience with technology.
Yes. Although I'm rapidly trying to be like the 80-year-olds now. I've canceled all my social media accounts. And so when somebody says, hey, did you see such and such a thing happened on TikTok? I'm like, nope.
I'm trying to live with a robot, so I'm trying to go the other way. Okay. I want robots all in my house doing everything for me.
I don't mind if Alexa turns on my light switch, but I don't care about whatever the current thing is.
You want robots driving your car?
I would like to experience the one where you don't have a driver. I just want to know what it feels like. I don't know if I'm comfortable.
First?
No, I'm not going to be the first. I used to write firmware code, and I know where the bugs exist.
Yes.
Good point.
So I don't want to do that. But the number one thing that I want a robot to do is fold my clothes.
Yes.
I want someone to come and fold my clothes.
I feel like there's AI for that now. We could get there.
Since I'm kind of the deep technology one, a lot of people say, God, there's no way I'll get into a car that doesn't have a driver. And in my mind, I immediately go to that even right now, these autonomous vehicles are on average much safer than a lot of people that drive these cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're doing a million things in the car.
That's right. So that's why I'm already giving them a kind of pass, and I don't mind being one of the first ones because they're already so far along. Right?
44,000 people a year in the United States die, and I would say nearly plus 98% is human error.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then these robots are perfect, and I've experimented with some of the self-driving stuff. I haven't done Waymo or anything like that yet, but it's but you've got to get the public to embrace it.
Takes time. Change takes time.
No good transition here, but just in the interest of moving the conversation forward to something you alluded to, and something that actually harkens back all the way 40 plus weeks ago to episode 1 for us.
Oh, yeah.
Scams. So K-North, you guys are working with elderly folks, and one very common script that is occurring in everybody's life is that phone call / that scam email where somebody's trying to take advantage of you. Because while the technology has gotten good enough that it's doing a fair job of screening a lot of these things, hacking attempts, cracking attempts. We've got two-factor authentication. We've got lots of encryption. What we don't have is a really good end user in the seat of a lot of these devices. And you're only as good as the person who's using the device in terms of security standpoint. So what is K-North doing, or what are you all working on right now to help with that in the education piece? Yeah,
so I'll start at the very beginning, because I know that one day, and I don't know if you remember this, we were at Brewburger, and I was talking to Kevin just about the service that we were offering, and I was like, man, I feel like K-North needs a stickier value prop, right? Yes, we're going to help with everyday technology tasks, but what is it that we could target that main demographic, that audience, and say, this is what we can help you with, and reduction. And so we started brainstorming, and we talked about scams. And so I said, yes, this is always a topic. Social engineering is very real, especially in that demographic. And so we started to ideate, and
which we do great, by the way.
Yeah, we do. And so he decided, he was like, well, what if we could use AI to help us with a solution for scams? So I said, let's roll with it. And so he started to engage students, Viv, and we started to talk through, what is it that we want, K-North to offer to seniors that will help them avoid potential scams. And so that's what we started to do. Then we had to think of a name of it. And of course, Kevin's great with ideation. He was like, well, this is all about your grandmother. Why don't you name it after your grandmother? And so we said, okay, it's Emma. So Emma is our AI tool that we're using to train. It's been all Viv. And
it's my
Kevin.
daughter's name. It's a good name.
I love it. I love it. It's been all Viv and Kevin, and they've been, training Emma to eventually land on our website so that seniors are able to go there. They know it's a safe website. They can take a screenshot. They can ask it direct questions, and it's going to provide insights based on the training.
And if you want to use Emma, you're supposed to go to Walgreens and get an Apple gift card and then send you the number. Is that how that works?
Oh, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So what's great about, and we're learning too, right, every week, but what's great about Emma and Viv, who's in the room with us, she's the mastermind behind it, is she has defined it and developed it so it talks to older adults in their language, in very simple language. It always starts an interaction by sharing with it shows empathy, but it starts an interaction, a discussion by saying, hey, thanks for reaching out. Here are the top scams going on. Just want to make sure we alert you to that. And now how can I help you with your current situation? She's already demoed it in some of our older meetups that we've had at libraries with some older adults, like a little small group. She's demoed it and shared it with them, and the reaction has been great.
Yeah.
Okay, now that surprises me a little bit, because one thing I know about interacting with, particularly like phone intelligence, is you almost always hear of elderly people saying, what you do is you swear at it. And once you start swearing, then you get to talk to a real person.
Yeah.
Keep pressing zero.
Keep pressing zero. So how do you avoid that sentiment when folks already have an aversion to technology?
Well, and I think with K-North, one thing that we try to lead with is not the service we provide, but it's the safe environment, the safe space. And so we have core values like Kevin mentioned, empathy, patience. We start there before we jump into, hey, this is what we can offer you with scams, right? We want to set the tone and set the mood for, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to connect with you. And here are some of the things that we can provide you. And so I think it's just all the way how you stage it or cue it up to them. And in this particular instance, when we were showing the older adults, Emma, we had a live demo going on. And so they were able to see it on the screen, what Vivian was doing. And I think what also helps that, honestly, is the intergenerational presentation, right? So it wasn't us that was presenting that to them. It was Viv, who was a student. And I don't know what it is. It's magic. We see it in Kroger every Friday. When that engagement happens, that demographic is more likely to engage, be less resistant, have less tension.
I saw that play out in another shopping experience this week that sort of is an odd juxtaposition to, I guess, what is going to be our cold open with the check writing.
Yeah.
But there's a lady who had a credit card, and the cashier said, "Oh yeah, don't worry about swiping it. You can just tap it here." And she looked a little hesitant, but she was willing to go along with it. He put his hand on her card and got it in her hand and said, "Just hold it there for a second. It'll beep." It beeped. He said, "That's it. You're done." And she said, "That's so easy. I've never done that before." Mm-hmm. And then I talked to the cashier, and I said, "That was a beautiful, teachable moment."
Right.
And he said, you just need somebody to give you a helping hand." He said, "I've got a teenage brother, and he's my tech support." Mm-hmm. And so I do think that's how people think about it. You got to know somebody young. You got to have a nerd, somebody that's there to teach you how to do it. So I think that is an important piece.
I think you're right too with having another option instead of swiping it or inserting it. That tap, I mean, you can think about arthritis and mobility issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's probably a much easier
eyesight. I mean, how many times have you tried to dip the chip and it's from the bottom? You can't even see where you're putting it.
You can't even see it. That's right.
Then the other thing I've noticed too is when we have these get-togethers, like with older adults or even at Kroger's, that a lot of the older adults want to learn. Mm-hmm. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And so when you have some other young adults that are willing to teach, Terry and I have seen it countless times that they have full attention. They help me get better at this because it's not going away. So I've been a little surprised at how open the older adults are to learning.
Do you think that you're? Oh, sorry. I was going to just say. Do you think you're getting a cross section of adults that are willing to learn because they're participating with this program?
Yes. I think that's a big part of it.
How do you reach the rest? Has that been a conversation at this point?
Yeah, we're still learning. So we're trying to understand how to expand our reach at this point. But we feel like the more that we get the word out, we show our value through what we're doing through Kroger, through our partnerships with the Y and others. I think it can naturally expand. But that's all about the learning experience that we're going through.
The digital dashers, I think you call them, right?
I love them.
So you're set up at a Kroger, you have a booth, and then you have these young students walking through the store. Can you tell us a little more about how that is actually going?
Yeah, so that it's been a learning experience every week, but yeah, so we set our booth up in somewhere where we're very visible. The Kroger, there's 2 Krogers that we're in. We started like inside. With just like a couple of tables and a sign. And then we had 2 what we call digital dashers and 1 lead, one of us. We'll be there, we'll greet people, but a lot of times when you're coming into grocery stores, what do you think? Someone's trying to sell you Girl Scout cookies.
Spectrum Mobile.
Spectrum Mobile.
Those guys need to leave us the heck alone.
Yes, and so, we weren't met with violence, but we were not met with pleasant smiles like we were trying to give, right? And so that's when Viv had the idea of like just walking around, asking people for assistance because people were reluctant to come up to the booth.
That's how you get the other side of the group that you're talking about, where you're not getting the people engaged coming to you, and now you're just looking at people, looking at product or.
That's right. That's right. And so we try to make it as welcoming as possible. But what we do is every week we give Kroger our feedback on our engagement and what went well, what did not go well.
Is that at the local level or is that at the national level?
That's the corporate marketing level.
Okay.
So Kevin prepares a report every Friday.
Perfect.
And what we learned was we needed some type of sign, large sign, that basically said, "Hey, we're not selling anything. We're here to help you." And so Kevin designed, "We're here to help." They created us a table skirt. And we put that on our table, and now our engagement continues to grow every week.
Is there a possibility you could actually get maybe a Kroger uniform or something so it doesn't appear that you're an external organization? Because that would be the trust builder for me.
Sometimes it helps that we're the external organization. And I'll give you an example. So last Friday when at the Buckner location, there was a lady who came up, and she obviously had a very negative experience with the app. And we're blue, right? So they think we're Kroger.
Okay.
And she came to me and she's like, "I don't really want to rag on the app, but like," and she started like whispering and telling me these things. And I told her, I said, "Look, we are an organization that they hire third party to take feedback." I said, "So no one's going to know your Kroger name, like your ID.
We won't tell on you.
We won't tell. We need that anonymous feedback. That's our job."
Yeah.
And as soon as I told her that we were outside, she unloaded. She told us everything that, and it wasn't like this app sucks. It was, the Wi-Fi is not working, and I can't see a coupon because of the color.
That's
those
fair.
types of things.
I get to the dairy section and I can't scan some of the coupons, and I don't feel like I'm a plebeian when it comes to the technology.
Exactly. And so I think there's a balance there. I think our blue shirts really help us blend in with the Kroger brand, but in that instance, it was advantageous for us to be the external partner.
Kevin wanted red shirts, though, didn't he?
Well, busted. The other thing, just to add to that story, is that we first started out here in Lexington just as a pilot, just because Kroger's wasn't sure if it's going to work or whatever, but the timing ended up helping perfectly because we learned from Kroger's as they moved away from paper coupons to more digital coupons, that some of the community was struggling, especially the older community. And so with what K-North's all about, the timing was great.
Yep.
So let's kind of circle back to the scamming thing for a moment. Mm-hmm. How do you engage with somebody on that topic? You mentioned kind of a high-level overview or interaction with maybe an AI. Mm-hmm. I don't know that the demographic we're describing is maybe going to seek that out.
Right.
Is there a one-to-one interpersonal coaching there as well?
Yeah, so what we've been trying to do at the very beginning is leverage the partnerships to get the word out on our offering of scams. So for instance, we had a tech talk at one of the local libraries here where we had Emma on display for the older adults so that they knew that it was coming. We have an upcoming partnership with the YMCA, the local YMCA, that we're going to do the same type of thing. And so right now it's just leveraging the partnerships to get it out there. And then as we engage with more K-North clients, we will let them know that we have this service or this offering that we can educate them on.
One of the things I understand the function of Emma would be, hey, Emma, is this a scam? And then copy and paste the text, the email, the whatever you get.
Yep.
And I understand Paul's point. I feel like there'd be some pushback to elderly using that technology. But if you kind of put it in a nice box and bow and all that, and just say, just push, just ask Emma if this is good or bad.
And that's what we're trying to figure out is what's the right medium for that demographic? What are they going to use? Sure. Right now, we don't know. We know that they like it when they see it in a seminar, but will they like it enough to open up an app on their phone? Will they like it enough to talk to something?
Do they need to be logged in? Do they need to have accounts?
Yes.
Those are the things.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I guess the other question I would have, and I don't know if you have an answer for this or not, this is just food for thought, but the folks that, they want the phone that's just a phone and they're not going to be in that app-driven community, is there an option to call a phone number and use it over, over telephone?
Right. And I think we talked about that at the very beginning when we were even creating the contact us screen. It's like, okay, do we just want to offer an email or do we want to use traditional phone? Because we know, like you said, people just want a phone call sometimes. So I think those are all things we're trying to explore right now just to understand what best serves that demographic. And it can't be from like our perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's what would they need, and that we have some more learning to do.
But it's a huge challenge, and we're going to try to figure out, how we can have the biggest influence. But every day it's happening, right? And it's getting better and better. So we've tried different approaches. Like at Kroger's, we've even handed out little index cards that had Viv's top 4 things to think about whether or not you're being scammed or not. Just as a personal, hey, here's something to think about as you enjoy your shopping experience. But we realized those had really small impacts because a lot of these need their handheld all the time. So one thought we have just for now is we'd like them to know how to get to K-North's website easily, and that Emma would be right there without any login credentials or anything. Just push a button and say, tell me the latest scams. Start there, and then can it be more interactive? So we're trying to figure it out.
And I assume this has to work on mobile since most of these folks probably don't have their own desktop or laptop computers.
That's correct. The website is fully mobile.
Perfect. So partnership with the Y, I think, is awesome. Partnership with Kroger, I think, is awesome because those are two trustworthy institutions that are very prominent in this area in particular. If you're looking at your dreams list now, are there names that you'd like to get in partnership to add to that list? Because there's not competition in this space. Kroger doesn't care if Meijer's using it.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to do next?
Well, it's interesting. We talked about the expansion within the grocery industry, but one thing that I think would be really cool is if we could partner with like a Bluegrass Care Navigator or a PACE. Because one thing I learned in that certification program is there's going to be a dire need for aging in place. And so what comes with that? And what types of services will they need to age in place? Technology has to be at the forefront of that, because telehealth, all of these things that are going to happen as you're aging in your home, I think that would be a really cool partnership. We've had some discussions with PACE. We went over there. We've educated them on who we are. But I think that would be awesome if we could get into the health sector and go along that journey of aging and what does it mean as you're aging in place.
And that's a key one, because as you probably can relate to now, that not only the Kroger app is just one small example, all of your health situations and appointments are becoming all digital. Can you imagine the older population trying to deal with that?
Do you know how many times I've had to go to my in-laws to help them with my chart? UK's my chart for their insurance, and it is amazing how as a university they've shifted completely to this digital platform.
Yep.
And it's really hard.
Epic's taken over everything. It's taken over everything. And one story I'll tell you about that. I talked to a friend when I was telling her about K North, and Kevin, you'll remember this. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need." You know, my aunt, she's calling me constantly for technology questions. And she was like, "I just want my aunt back." You know, I don't want the transactional phone call every time, right? And so it's like, let us be that transactional engagement so you can have that relationship back with your loved one.
Without knowing that phone call is tech support.
Yeah, because the moment you see that name, you're on edge because you're like, oh, I'm going to have to fix their iPhone. Like, no, you don't have to do that anymore.
See, I've been the son-in-law hero. So
there
Kristen gets to go over and visit and be with her parents, and I get to fix all the techie things. And I love it too. But I'm lucky in that sense where I can tinker and fix their Wi-Fi and stuff. But you're right. If it's just you and the loved ones, you'd want to visit and to talk to them.
And think about, as a caregiver, you have so many other things on your plate that you have to do for that loved one. Technology is probably the least thing. Like, you do not want to have to fool with configuring a smart TV all along while trying to take care of your loved one.
All right. So just a quick example of that, and I think that's one of our new target customers are really the sons and daughters who just need someone else to help with their parents' technology issues. So we've been meeting with this one customer. He lives quite a ways out, Taste Creek Road. We're going there helping him with his Wi-Fi, his smart TVs, his tape recorders. He's got a VHS thing.
So you meant tape recorder. That wasn't just a slip.
No, we legit
vestige.
fixed a VCR, and it was the most amazing experience. Like, to touch a VHS tape again was awesome.
Wow.
Yes. But when you see the reason he called us out there, because he wasn't able to see his grandchild like he wanted to, because none of that was working. And so it's, again, trying to bring relationships back, bring families closer together. That's just so cool.
Yeah. So with the scope of what you're doing now, I think my understanding is that this is very Central Kentucky centric. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Is there a plan with partners like Kroger to make that a national scope? Are you hoping to grow that beyond just Central Kentucky?
Yeah, we're still learning. I think what's been key for us in our success in these early stages is that we have controlled our growth. And so, yes, obviously the ultimate goal is to grow, and would love for this to be national. But right now we really want to focus on the target audience here in Lexington, in the surrounding counties and cities, and really understand how to perfect that value prop and then figure out how to scale from there.
Have you tried smaller communities, Kroger's in some of the smaller towns, or anything yet?
Not yet. Brandy, who's the marketing head, the reason she chose these two locations is they were new stores, and they placed an emphasis on enhanced or improved customer experience, and they wanted us a part of that rollout. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could see you getting a different demographic of folk. I'm picturing not a Kroger, but there's a IGA in Wilmore, right? And I'm picturing that might have different questions, problems to solve.
And we actually were intentional on our pilots in that way in Lexington. We chose one where we felt like there would be a lot more participation, a lot more audience engagement. And then we chose one that was a little bit smaller but had a edition where
Alexandria?
Alexandria.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
That's right. And
Yeah,
so we piloted having a student there that was fluent in Spanish.
That's my Kroger. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have to
Take
so we were there.
your Emma to their Kroger.
have Emma use Emma.
Yeah.
But let me just reemphasize something she just said was that we're growing our digital dashers to be diverse.
Yes.
So we had a great student who could speak Spanish, and that really just helped in our whole experience at the Alexandria store.
Yeah, and we really wanted to grow with diversity in mind. We want K North to represent the community that we're serving. And I think we can do that with our digital dashers. We've done that with our leadership team. I mean, our chief design architect, he's in the Philippines. So we're really trying to make sure that we're bringing in different perspectives so that we're understanding our value prop and how to grow it.
So I have one last question, and this is from the perspective of growth, and I understand you're not there yet, but one of the things we do a lot of times with our data when we're dealing with crash data is we try to look at flagging data. And if we are able to flag it, then we can pull out characteristics that give us more insight into what's going on. And I wonder if you've had conversations yet about possibly integrating Emma with the Kroger Plus app so that it's all in one, or maybe it flags a transaction so that if somebody who doesn't typically buy a gift card buys a gift card, pops up on the screen and says, hey, by the way, this is a common purchase associated with the scam. Maybe, check the app for a quick tutorial on whether or not it might be.
That's interesting. No, we hadn't thought about that.
That's actually a great idea, is because we've been providing them feedback, is I might have to steal that a little bit and just say, hey, do you already have things incorporated that they're trying to do a lot of gift card things or looking it up? Do you have a gentle reminder? That's actually a great idea.
That's a great idea.
So I bought some gift cards the other day at our Target right down here, and I'm of an age where it didn't even bother them. They just rang them up and no problem. And I kind of said something. I was like, no, I'm not getting scammed here. This is okay. She's like, oh, I figured. But I would think the cashier should and may just at least, do you know what you're using those for?
Well,
and 6 of them and
no, not the cashier.
Yeah.
You don't want them in the middle of it.
You don't. Okay.
But the store manager did mention that at one of our pilots, where they have tried to have conversations with individuals that they know are being scammed, and they're in there buying them, and they're telling them what they're buying it for, and it's just really hard to convince them that they're being scammed. Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate. Well, I know we have a hard out, but how do people find you guys, first of all?
Yeah, so our website is www.knorthky.com. Social medias are in progress. We don't have those yet. But if you would like to reach out to us and you're interested, it's hello@knorthky.com.
And we'll put links to all those in the description. I had a fun Kroger story that I wanted to end with you guys and maybe just get your reaction to. Many years ago, Vivian was selling Girl Scout cookies, and she was trying to get a certain tier or whatever to get. And so I told her, I was like, well, I teach class at UK. I'll take a box of them. She had a bunch of extras that they ordered. I'll sell as many as I can. And I bring it in. I'm trying to sell it to my students, and I got a bite here or there. But what was really interesting is, as I was packing up and leaving, the next class was coming in, and a young female student came in and said, "Are those Girl Scout cookies?" I was like, "Yeah." So can I buy some? And I was like, yeah, I'm just selling them for my daughter. And of course, she's not there.
Right.
And I'm like, really, I'm just, middle-aged man selling Girl Scout. But, I'm trying to help her out and hit a thing. And she's like, oh, I would love, I can get this and this. And I was like, sure, here we go. And then it must have been the next day or later that week, she set up a booth in Kroger. And they had the whole thing set up. And she and 3 other of her mates were selling. And all of a sudden, all 3 of them had to go to the bathroom at the same time. And, it was just like, girl talk or whatever. And they're like, Dad, can you cover? I was like, I can do this. I was setting up the PayPal thing. And it was technology and, it's fun. And so they all leave. And who shows up? But the young college student walks by the table and she goes, Didn't I just buy some Girl Scout cookies from you the other day? I was like, yeah, I really do have a daughter. I promise. She's in the bathroom. And she bought another box of cookies.
That is a great story.
I was like, what is going on here? So
you're the Girl Scout.
God, that is so embarrassing.
That's a good story.
I love it.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
This was
We really
fantastic.
appreciate it.
Kevin again, and Terry, this was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining, and I guess we'll see you in another 3 months.
That sounds
Probably.
good.
Sounds perfect.
We've got a brand new website.
That is soapboxlex.com.
So you can check us out on the web. You can also check us out on your favorite streaming platforms, including
Spotify, we're on Apple, and we're on Amazon. And of course,
if you want to check us out and actually see what you're listening to, we do have video as well on YouTube. And I don't know if you knew this, but Spotify does video too.